Okay, so for this project, what we're going to do is open up photop.com. And so I'm going to switch screens over here so that you can see what I have over here. You see I'm at photop.com, and I'm going to go to New Project. I could also go to File, New Project. It's going to open up a window that looks like this, and don't worry too much about all of this stuff right now. We're going to examine it throughout this semester, but we're going to go to social right here, and we're going to choose Instagram 1080 by 1080. You'll see it says PX, that stands for pixels. We'll learn all about that throughout this semester, but we're just going to start off by clicking create, and that's going to give us a white canvas that you can see on the screen right here. Now in another tab, we're going to go to color.adobe.com, and we're going to click on the monochromatic color scheme. So this is a color wheel, and we can sort of drag this around the circle here, the color wheel. We can choose a hue or a color that is going to give us a color palette, and all of these colors are going to go together pretty well. And so a monochromatic color scheme is basically you have a root or base color, as you can see right in here, and all these other colors sort of complement it. Now this code right here is called the hexadecimal code, and it's a 6-character code that describes what the color is, giving a red, green, and blue value. So I'm going to copy this, Command-C or Control-C, and I'm going to go back to Photop over here. And in my toolbar, I'm going to click on my color palette. This is my foreground color, and I'm going to paste that hex code right into here and click OK. So now you'll see that I've got that blue base color in my foreground. And if I press B on my keyboard, or if I go into my toolbar and click on the brush icon right here, I'm going to choose my paintbrush. Now right click on this, you'll see that I also have a pencil tool and a color replacement tool. Make sure that you have the brush tool. If I press B on my keyboard again, it's going to cycle through those tools. So I want to make sure that I actually have the brush tool. Now in the right hand right here, you can see that there's this BRU. This is my brush settings, and so this is where I can actually choose the type of brush that I'm using. I can also see that in the properties panel up at the top, a couple different places where we can do the same thing. For now, what I want to do is I'm going to click on 24 right here, the sort of fuzzy brush. And if I close this and I just start painting onto my canvas, you can see that I have like a really light color right here. Now it's light because my settings has the brush set to an opacity of 18%. So I'm going to change this to 100%, and now you'll see that it sort of paints on, but it still has a fuzzy edge. Now a couple things that you should know about. Right here, I can change the size of the brush, and I can change the brush hardness by just adjusting the slider. So now I've got a big brush, but it's still very fuzzy. And if I press the bracket key on my keyboard, you'll see that that also changes the brush size. And if I press Shift bracket, that's going to change the hardness of the edge. So you can see I have a very hard edge right here, and then Shift left bracket is going to make it a very soft edge. And what I want to do is I just want to color in the entirety of this canvas right here. And I'm just going to sort of fill it all in, have a solid blank background color. There are other ways that you could go about doing that, but for now I just want you to use your brush tool to do so. All right, the next thing that we're going to do to create this monochromatic abstract is go back to color.adobe.com. I want to choose one of these complementary neighboring monochromatic colors. In the background you can hear my dog, that's Callie. You'll probably see her throughout this semester. And I'm going to copy this hex code. I'll go back into Photop right here. I'm going to click on the background color this time. I'm going to paste in that code, hit OK. And now if I press X on my keyboard, I can actually switch the background and foreground color. So now I've got this second color, and I just want to go ahead and I want to add a swath of color across the top like so. And I'm just creating, right now, not anything specific, but just sort of combining colors in interesting ways. Now, once you have two colors, let's go ahead back to Adobe Color Wheel. Let's grab another one of these, I like this darker one right here. I'm going to copy the hex code, and I will go back to Photop. I will paste that hex code right here, hit OK, and I'm going to go ahead and just put like a dark band of color actually across the middle right here. Once I've done that, once I have three colors, in this abstract drawing, I want you to then go to your brush settings and play around with some of these other brushes. So for example, if I choose this one, it says number 7 right here. You can see if I make the brush bigger, I'm actually going to use the slider right here. There you can see it sort of looks like a marker or like a paintbrush almost, and you'll actually see a little indication of what it's going to look like. I'm actually going to change the opacity, which means that it's going to be sort of lighter. It's going to be somewhat transparent. If the opacity is set to 25, it's going to be 75% transparent. And I'll go back to Adobe Color Wheel. I'm gonna grab one final color right here, copy the hex code, bring it back into Photopea, and paste that hex code into my foreground or background. Notice that all the colors that I previously used are right here in my recently used swatches. I can also see that in my swatches panel up here. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to increase the size of this just a little bit more. I'm going to come around here and I'm just going to do a couple of other sort of passes right here to create something new and interesting, and just sort of add some additional layers to here. I can sort of hit the corners if I want to. And it's 25% opacity, so it's just adding like a little hint of color here and there. If I have made a change and I don't like it, I can press Control Z or Command Z. I could also go to Edit, Undo / Redo. And in this program, Photoshop and Photopea, if I go to history, I can actually step backwards for all of the steps. So I can sort of like visualize my undos. And so you can see I can go back through them here like so. And so if I didn't like what I had done, I could come back and maybe I just want to like add in some of these little embellishments right here to create this monochromatic abstract. All right, so once I've done that, I'm going to go to File, Save as PSD, and I'm going to save this into our graphics folder inside of our August folder. And for me right now in this demonstration, I'm just going to save it to my desktop, but you're going to save it to your graphics folder. I'm going to call this abstract, and we'll click Save. Now, a .psd is a Photoshop file, which means that you can actually open this in Photoshop, which later we'll see looks very similar to this. All right, so that is the project. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Remember, you're going to choose an emotion, and you're going to try to choose a monochromatic color scheme that sort of matches that emotion in this design. Best of luck.